If you're new to embroidery, hooping your fabric and choosing the right stabilizer is something that just happens. It's hard the first time, it's easier the second time, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I'm going to go over the basics of the hoops that came with the creative icon. So we have a whole video just on stabilizers to help you understand what you need behind different types of fabric. I will be showing you how to hoop something with a little guidance of some spray adhesive. This one is a 505 spray and fix temporary fabric adhesive. That's my little insurance in a can. Plus, this is cotton fabric. So usually the rule of thumb is if your fabric is a woven fabric, we're going to use tearaway stabilizer. If your fabric is a knit or something stretchy, we're going to use a cutaway stabilizer. And what you see behind my fabric so far is actually 2 layers. So the saying goes is those of us that use 2 layers of stabilizer and those that wish they did. So if you're going to skimp out and use 1 layer, you're going to probably wish you had 2. It'll look better all the time. So I don't have time to redo something. I always put 2 layers. Sometimes if it's a lot of stitches, lots and lots of detail, I will even go up to 3. So depending on your stabilizer that you have, you're going to start to have tearaway, cutaway, and wash away stabilizers. We go into all of those in our stabilizer video. Next, when you're picking a design, so like a design like this, it's a smaller design. It is something that we can use a smaller hoop for. It's always best to pick the hoop size closest to the design size. Now, here's what's going to happen. Your machine is going to do that for you automatically. So if you happen to pull up a design in the machine that's a larger size, it will probably come up with the hoop closest to that size. Actually, it will. So whatever hoops you've told the machine that you own and you have, those are the hoops it's going to pick, and it's going to pick the smaller one. So it's not going to pick if you just have a small design, it is not going to ever tell you to put on the big hoop. So first off, hoops have a outside bracket. This is the part that attaches to the embroidery arm. So the first thing I always look for is the bracket that I set as my outer hoop, and that will be sitting over here on my left side. That also puts the little screw and quick release part here, down here, always at my right hand. So we're going to start by separating your 2 hoops, and then we're also going to look at our inner hoop that comes out. We'll have the notation of the Pfaff brand at the top that you can read, and then the size right here at the bottom. So this one says 260 by 200. Now I know if you're not used to metric, that is something that we also learned a lot about, but 260 is approximately 10 inches this way, and 200 millimeters is approximately 8 inches this way. So it's just something, again, the more you use it, the easier that gets. So if you are layering fabric with 2 layers of stabilizer, your outer hoop is going to go on the table first, and then your inner hoop is going to sit on top of your fabric. But now that we are putting all these layers together, next, make sure this is open and then loosen this screw so you're not trying to really push or mash these fabrics in there. Should be actually quite easy. So this is the key. Open it as far as you can go without it coming apart. There you go. And if you ever at a later time down the road find that you have broken this because you pushed it too hard and you shouldn't have, you always have a backup one in the other hoops. You have 2 other hoops that came with this machine. So you always have a spare, you do, and then get a replacement from your store. Okay, so if your fabric has some lines drawn on it to help you get aligned with something that already exists, there are little marks on the hoop here and here that you will and can set them up against here. So you can get it all lined up. Then I'm going to pick the whole entire enchilada up and then set it down into the outer hoop. I like to start up here at the top, and then that way as I come down, then I'm going to slide this part off the table just a little bit so it can be helped to kind of slip it into that open screw area. See how easy that is in? And it's barely even holding in, but it is actually in there. Then you take this part and close it. So once you close it, it shouldn't be too hard. If it's really hard, you're going to break it. But if it's nice and loose, you can close it. Now's when you take the screw and start to tighten the two hoops together. So as you tighten it more, then the hoops squeeze on the fabric. So that's what I'm going to do next. Just start here and tighten the screw. Usually I just leave it on the table. Also today I am working at a standing position, and I will tell you a secret. It is always easier to hoop standing up. So that is also something to, don't ever try to sit and hoop because you need that downward pressure. Okay, so next we're going to tighten this screw until we can't go any further with our fingers. And then let me show you a little trick that I do here. Can you hear where that is kind of rubbing on the table? It's really just this lower hoop here being a little exposed, but I'm going to take my thumbs on the inside here and give it a little push past flush. So now listen. See how much more quiet it is? It's my little secret at the end. I just come around, push that just a little past. Now you probably see in this one a little wrinkle. That is normal because of the little lever here. Now I realized that I hooped this while I was talking and I didn't show you the spray adhesive. So what I like to do, this is like a real light way to kind of glue the stabilizer together and then put the spray on the stabilizer again and lay your fabric on. So it's like a Post-it note in a can, and it helps so you don't accidentally stretch out your fabric while you are hooping it. That is something that will get a lot easier, but this is what helps hold it so it doesn't get stretched. You never want to stretch your fabric while you're trying to hoop. So even though this hoop is ready to be used, the one thing you don't want to do is put it on the machine. If you put it on here, the machine is going to make you take it off because it's outside the stitching area of your foot. So just let that be off to the side until this arm actually physically moves in at the very end and it asks for the hoop to be placed. So this is our Embroidery Essentials online course. Again, if you want to learn hooping and you have to do it lots of times, there's 16 blocks just in this part of the course. There's extra lessons that have you do some things that aren't actually part of the block series. If you have to hoop something 16 times, I guarantee you will master doing and hooping your fabric and stabilizer and your batting, and it will then become just natural for you to jump right in and hoop up your fabric.